YouTube, what the Total War Rome 2 crap is going on? I didn't want to keep y'all waiting very long for more multiplayer because multiplayer is great. I do really hate that I can't play more of it. I enjoy it thoroughly. Like for instance, in a good example, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but it's just a good example. One of my viewers bumped into me in a multiplayer battle and had to leave the battle because, you know, like his family needed him to get off or something like that. And it's fine. I'm not trying to like say it to be mean or anything. I'm just saying that kind of stuff happens in multiplayer battles. Or you play someone who's not very good, or the battle just isn't that entertaining, or you know, just any number of reasons. The game drops, someone drops, it ends up being AI. All these things happen when you play multiplayer. And my problem is I only have 4 to 6 hours a week on a good week in order to record all the videos that I want to show you, and I like to try and show you 2 videos a day most days of the week. My goal is to get you at least 12 videos a week. 14 would be good. I don't always get to meet that because of time. And so if I spend a considerable amount of time, so let's say that I go out and I have to play multiplayer battles for 60 minutes to find one good one, and then I have to go back and record that, and let's say it's a 15-minute video. I just spent an hour and 15 minutes on 15 minutes worth of video. And what that means is that was basically, if I could somehow know I was going to get a good multiplayer battle and just record it, they're very quick and they're very efficient and you all like them, and it's a great way for me to make a video quick that you enjoy a great deal. But that extra hour supposedly that I may have spent trying to get that good battle is now 2 campaign videos that I didn't have time to make. So hopefully that puts that in perspective, and some of you are like, Air, why don't you just set up battles with people so then you know you're playing against someone good? Well, that's the thing. When do I get to play? What days do I get to play? Sorry folks, that's just not set in stone. I have a wife, I have a 1-year-old, I have a full-time job that I work 9 to 10 hours a day at, and then I have to mow the lawn, wash the cars, you know, get groceries, cook, whatever it is. You know, there's stuff that comes in there. I can't just like definitely say, oh, this time, every time I'm gonna be there. So coordinating with people is difficult. And then beyond that, there's really not a lot of people in my time zone that I could coordinate that with. And you know, it's not easy. So if I was a full-time YouTuber, coordinating those battles would be what I do every time. But I'm not a full-time YouTuber. So basically, this is why it sometimes gets difficult for me to get you this. Now sometimes I get on and coming across easy battles, or good battles, is easy. Sometimes it's not. So just so you all know, that's why the multiplayer can be hit and miss for me. I have to be careful about how much time I invest in it because it could take away from my ability to show you all campaigns. Hopefully that makes sense. So I do have some good battles for you. I have a couple of them, and there'll be more, of course, all the time going forward. Air, why Rome 2? Why not Attila? I love multiplayer in Attila pretty well too. It's even harder to find good matches in Attila. And to be quite frank, I do like Rome 2 a little better as far as multiplayer goes, actually quite a bit better. And there's more action going on in it. That's why I usually have them on here. Plus, you all seem to enjoy the Rome 2 battles the most, from what I'm seeing on just views and engagement and all that kind of stuff. Does that mean I'll never do anything different? No, it just means that my main focus on multiplayer will probably be in Rome 2 for now. All right, let's jump on into it. So, got a special battle for you here tonight, mostly because of who's involved in it. You all see a name right here, THFE, Oakley High Def. He runs THFE Productions, which is a YouTube channel, and many of you have asked me for a long time to get together with Oakley and do some battles. Oakley, I'll try and think of the best way to, in my mind, what I would describe his videos. He makes great videos. His videos, as far as how they differ from mine, he probably spends more time editing and, you know, putting stuff together that looks smooth and cinematic, and he's good at it. That's his kind of thing. He tends towards historical scenarios and just like massive battles, big battles. That seems to be the things he likes to focus on. He also likes to keep up with the news on Total War. So if you think you would be into that kind of thing, I'll have a link to his channel. He runs a great YouTube channel. Definitely worth checking out if you want to take a look at it. No, he didn't ask me to do this. It's just something that if you all are looking for more great Total War content, I'm not the only person on the block who provides it. There's lots of great Total War content out there. I'm not saying that because I want you all to leave and not watch my stuff. I'm just letting you know. And I'm not out here to put these guys out of business or to try and snuff them out of competition or something like that. I'm here to bring you videos that I hope y'all enjoy, and they're doing the same thing, and there's no reason you can't enjoy more of it. So in any case, I finally get to play a battle with Oakley High Def, but you'll notice that HeirofCarthage isn't listed anywhere here. I'm playing as Sooner. It's a reference to the football team that I like for college because I'm from Oklahoma. I go kind of like halfway incognito a lot of times when I'm playing online battles, and that's just to make it to where my viewers will probably know how to recognize me. I never change my avatar on Steam, and my names are pretty easy to pick out sometimes. So I'm not really trying to hide. I'm kind of like hiding in the open. The main reason I do it is because, you know, sometimes if I go by my real name, I'll get into a battle, and it's not that I dislike this, but people will start chatting to me, or they'll play differently because they know it's me. Like, and I don't mean this to be mean. Some people love beating YouTube personalities on Rome 2, and that's fine. I don't mind putting up a battle where I lose. But, you know, I do it to try and make people play naturally, so that the battles that I bring you are just more natural Rome 2 footage rather than like, oh my gosh, I'm playing against the guy from YouTube, I gotta really do something different or crazy or this and that. Anyway, so that's why I do that. Not because I'm trying to hide or hide a record. I mean, there's no need for any of that. So, Oakley High Def is on the other team. He's teamed up here with Cannabis Club. So, Egypt and Bactria. So, Oakley is going to play as Egypt. Bactria is Cannabis Club. My teammate is General Ostrike as Sparta, and then there's going to be myself. And I picked Macedon. I hate that Macedon's so crappy in this game, but they are really bad. They are truly one of the bad factions in the game, but I picked them because I haven't picked Macedon in a long time, and why not? And you can see my army is very Macedonian. All swords, no pikes, or anything of the sort, no peltas. So yes, very Macedonian of me. I do have Companion and Thessalian Cav, though, so at least I bring some semblance of a Macedonian army. So, yeah, I've got, and this is a huge funds battle. So I've got 8 Thorax Swordsmen, 2 Royal Peltists, for a total of 10 heavy infantry. I've got 2 Thessalians, 2 Companion Cav, 3 Cretan Archers, and 1 Standard Archer unit. And my Spartan teammate has basically like 6 or 7 Royal Spartans, a Heroes of Sparta, a few Spartan Hoplites, looks like 4 Citizen Cav, and he's got some Mercenary Rhodian Slingers and Mercenary Cretan Archers. The Bactrian player went like total horse ranch on us, so it's a complete Cav spam. And anyway, so Bactrian player's got 5 Horse Archers roaming around over here, and then he's got, looks like 6 Bactrian Noble Horse there, and they're backed up by, looks like 6 Citizen Cav. There's 2 Hellenic Cataphracts and a Bactrian Royal Cav General, so a crap load of Bactrian Cav. Oakley is going pretty old school here as the Egyptian. He's got 4 Thorax Pikemen. You don't see Pikes a lot in Rome 2. And these larger funds battles, the more expensive pikemen have a chance to play out better than in the lower funds. He's got 3 Thurio Spears, which are spread out over here, protecting several light, or let's see, 2 Cretan Archers and a light Peltist. He's also got 3 Tarentine Cav speeding out here, and he's got 3 Ptolemaic Cav here in the back. And then over here he's got 2 Galatian Royal Guards. So not a lot of infantry from Oakley, but he's got a pretty substantial skirmishing component. There's another Cretan Archer right there. The 2 Galatian Royal Guard are pretty potent, and then the 3 Ptolemaic Cav, that's a lot of striking power in Oakley's army. He just doesn't have a lot of anvil. He's going to be relying on fairly few infantry, but he's got very capable shock cavalry. So that's kind of an overview of the field. Now I'm gonna talk to you all here about some 2v2 tactics. At the beginning of the battle, now we're in the red, my team. My teammate makes a run for the top of the hill here, and I was like, dude, why is he running away from me? So there's my teammate up here on the hill. It's like, what's he doing? He's leaving me here, and look how Oakley and the Bactrian player are working to just cut us off here very quickly. So Air made a cardinal mistake of 2 versus 2 here, which is stay with your teammate. For goodness sakes, don't leave your teammate. I left my teammate, and in the battle, I feel bad now looking back on it. I was chatting to the Spartan players like, hey, thanks for leaving me down here alone, Sparta. And, you know, I wasn't being mean about it. I had like little smiley face and stuff, and I'm like sarcastically like, hey, great, thanks for leaving me to get picked apart here. But it's my fault. When I saw my opponent take for the hill, and this makes sense, you got a Cav spam, get your guys on the hill where it negates their charge. My opponent was, whether he meant it on purpose or whether he just wanted to hill camp, or I don't know, whatever it is, he was right, and I should have followed him up here, and I did not. Let's see what happens. We'll see if I can pull myself out of the bind that I've got myself put in. My Royal Peltist, I was using them thinking, oh, I'll use their javelins to push back his Bactrian horse archers. This is stupid. This was also a mistake. Royal Peltists do not have a great missile block chance, and they are getting diced up by the horse archers who, they're not in heavy shot, but they are getting rear shots and all kinds of good shots. So my Royal Peltists are getting jacked up bad. Now, when they can toss their javelins, they're quite handy. Like right there, I got 20 horse archer kills from a javelin toss. It's okay. Now, the Bactrian player, as I was trying to micro my troops, gets a great charge in my Thessalian cav. This is very bad for me. This is all just citizen cav through here, so not real heavy stuff. All this heavy stuff is still back here. So I'm engaged here, and then Oakley has Tarentine cav behind me. I'm going to have to be careful with this Thessalian. I don't really want to try and micro a frontal engagement over here where I can then get ripped apart by this Ptolemaic cav, which can now swing around me at will. So Oakley is outflanking me. Having sent the message to the Spartan player is now coming down off the hill to help me. This is good. I need that bad. But I've allowed myself to get pretty isolated over here, and there's a real potential that it's going to cost us the battle, though I'm doing my best to try and prevent that. Some of the Bactrian horse archers kind of charge in here way premature, in my opinion. They have a lot of ammo left, and they're going to give my Royal Peltist a lot of kills, and I'm just able to get my skirmishers and cav away. Over here, I bring in Thorax Swordsmen as quickly as possible to reinforce this fight, so that the Bactrian cav will get bogged down. Thorax swords are not particularly good against cav, but melee cav is not particularly good against heavy infantry in this game in a grind-out fight, so that's my best hope. My Thessalians are over here chasing Tarentine cav, which is an absolutely foolish mistake again on my part. So right now making a lot of mistakes. Oakley has done a good job of getting around my flank. These light peltists are shredding one of my thorax swords, and the Thurio spear are doing the same. So I'm trying to micro in so many spaces at once that I'm just doing a poor job everywhere. And it's my fault for getting into this situation because I broke the cardinal rule of 2 versus 2 team rules, which is don't leave your teammate. So, because of that, I'm paying a hefty price. Now over here though, I get the Bactrian cav engaged in an engagement that is going to be quite favorable for me. He's now going to have to retreat from some of these engagements while my cavalry has him tied down, which means he will take heavy losses doing so, but the Bactrian player is going all in, trying to overwhelm one of my flanks, and it's not necessarily a bad plan for him. You can see my thorax swords are getting kills though, and we're killing quite a few of his cavalry. This Royal Peltist, I forgot it and mismicroed it to where it's now sitting out here being shot by a horse archer unit. So again, when you find yourself microing everywhere at once, unless you're very good, you'll just find yourself sucking everywhere at once rather than being good somewhere. So because I got caught in this position, I don't have the initiative. I'm reactive instead of active, and it's costing me, and here I lose a crapload of mercenary Cretan archers. Very detrimental for me. However, the enemy general at this point is overexposed. He should have used a different unit like these Hellenic cataphracts, because now his general is going to take a beating, and the Bactrian does not need that. I'm going to pursue the Bactrian cav, even though I'm suicidally outnumbered, because I have infantry that can continue to support. If the Bactrian cav wants to keep pulling away, I want to continually cause them damage, and I'm just going to retreat from Oakley, trying to get the Spartan to come in behind him. So this will mean that Oakley now has to focus his attention on the front and the back, meaning that he's less likely to be as effective versus me if he was just focusing on me alone. So I'm pulling away from his pikemen and trying to buy time as I destroy the Bactrian slowly. However, the Bactrian is causing considerable damage to my men. So when I say destroy the Bactrian, I don't mean that I'm doing it in any type of efficient manner. I'm just doing it by attrition because he's all cavalry and doesn't have the numbers to take on that many heavy infantry. If cavalry units came in 160 instead of 80, they would be pretty deadly. They can still be deadly when used properly, but it's heavy infantry is quite good. Now you can see the Bactrian general here actually gets in here and starts to get routed, so this is very good for me. However, my general is dead at this point too, I believe. So I've lost my general fairly early, mostly because I took a ton of archer fire from the horse archers early on. But at this point, there's Hellenic cataphracts roaming around. There's Ptolemaic cav in the battle here. These guys got some kills. Not a great charge for them, but they got some kills. So yeah, the Ptolemaic cav over here right now too is harassing the Spartans, getting some charges onto these Royal Spartans, though I don't think that's probably going to be worth Oakley's while here. Even a flank charge on the Royal Spartans like that's going to be less than effective. They have an elite spear and a bonus versus cav. This is risky business. The Spartan, though, has his troops fairly bunched up. Huge mistake here from the Spartan. This Ptolemaic cav is going to wreck tons and tons of skirmishers. Slow reaction from the citizen cav. Slow reaction from the spears nearby. So the Spartan's taking huge losses. So right now, lots of bad things happening for our team. But you can see the Bactrian is taking severe damage in his fight with me because of being engaged too close to my infantry. So what little cavalry I had a huge impact on the Bactrians because it was supported by my infantry. On the downside for me, though, I'm losing skirmishers like crazy, and my infantry line is being chewed up pretty good, though I still have a lot of heavy infantry. My 2 elite Royal Peltis, one of them is gone, and another one is badly beaten up with very few kills, so this is not good for me. Nice rear charge here from Oakley with the Tarantine Cav. Not going to cause a ton of damage, but it's a morale buster. And with the dead general, it doesn't take much to rout Thorax swords. These guys aren't amazing. The Hellenic Cataphracts, though, getting disappointingly low numbers. Well, for me, it's great. For the Bactrian player, it's not good. Not getting many kills yet. But again, these guys are killers in late game, and if they make it to late game, they're going to just become more and more dangerous. Here comes all the Bactrian heavy cav coming back in for more, looking to overwhelm these few men over here, though I do have Thorax swords still nearby. At this point, though, I have kind of abandoned the Spartan player to Oakley, and the Spartan player is doing some crazy foolishness here, attacking Thorax Pikes head-on. Even with very strong units like Spartan Hoplites and Royal Spartans, attacking these Pikes head-on is just pure suicide. And it's a very big misuse of really excellent Spartan units. And these Galatian Royal Guard here should get beaten head-to-head by Royal Spartans, but again, it's going to depend on how the Royal Spartans take that engagement. These guys here are going to do very well. They are in Hoplite Phalanx. They have not taken a lot of damage on the charge. They are going to grind out a lot of kills versus these Galatian Royal Guard, but you can see these guys are outflanked and they're doing almost nothing, going headlong into Pikes over here. I realize that I'm going to have to put pressure on the back of Oakley's lines in order to break these Pikes because my teammate is engaging them head-on, and he's also being attacked by cavalry repeatedly. This Ptolemaic Cav over here running lots of attacks for Oakley. It's getting rid of all the skirmishers for the Spartan player, and the Spartan player is just taking some engagements that are questionable, but that's coming from the guy who got myself separated and largely picked apart by Bactrian Cav, though finally I have visited some vengeance on the Bactrians, and they are nearly entirely dead, which means that I can now focus on Oakley. So if I can get in here and help knock out Oakley, will be good. I wheel up my Thorax swords, and I'm going to unload my javelins on the Thorax Hoplites. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. Want to kill as many of them as I can. You can see Oakley, though, is forming a defensive perimeter around his Pikes that are engaged because he doesn't want me to be able to outflank his Pikes. And because so many Spartan units have already died, the Spartan is really running short on enough units to get Oakley to turn his flanks where I can effectively attack him with my Thorax swords. Not to mention there's still Hellenic Cataphracts and Bactrian Heavy Cav roaming behind me, which makes this very risky. If I get engaged anywhere around the Pikes, even if I'm outflanking them, there's a very good chance that that cavalry will make me pay. Now here we should have a good outflanking scenario, but the Spartan again kind of takes an odd engagement, and I have to turn around momentarily to face some oncoming cav. I don't know exactly why I did that. I should be attacking these Thorax Pikes. The Spartan disengages here, which is probably fine because he doesn't want to keep engaging. And then when I try and engage, Oakley's able to quickly turn around and face his Pikes back toward me. So I have to call off that attack, and then he sends Galatian Royal Guard after me. So this is bad. I didn't take the time to look at the unit. I thought it was a Thorax sword. I didn't even realize I was fighting Galatian Royal Guard at this point. My general unit's still around here, but he's about to die. He's going to be hit by a lot of Bactrian heavy cavalry. Royal Peltis do not like being charged, unbraced, or braced for that matter, by heavy cavalry, especially heavy shot cavalry like Hellenic Cataphracts. So those Royal Peltists are as good as dead. And I've taken heavy losses back here, but the Bactrian has also taken heavy losses. It is now actually a fairly close fight. The biggest disadvantage that my teammate and I have is that our cavalry is gone, and Oakley still has some very deadly cavalry on the field in the form of these Ptolemaic Cav here that have now racked up a lot of skirmisher kills. So these guys have killed a lot of skirmishers. Very deadly charge, very nice melee attack on these Ptolemaic Cav. They are too expensive for what you get compared to other units like Eastern Cataphracts and others. But in this fight, they're going to be well suited at doing what they do best, which is rear charges and deadly rear charges. So now that the Spartan player has lost a lot of units, Oakley can afford to push me with his Pikes, because if I retreat, there's cavalry to pin my retreat. So this is one of those few situations in which you're going to see Pikes actually be dangerous. Because I don't have a way to outflank them or shoot them to death, they can push on me, and normally while you can just retreat, when cavalry is around, you can't retreat. You can see this heavy cavalry here knocking over a considerable number of my men. And then just over here, my guy's struggling with Galatian Royal Guard here, which really needed the Spartan hoplites to help with these kills. All the Spartan hoplites, though, are still in formation attack, which is making them less effective. All of my guys are out of formation attack, which means I can outflank and surround. For best effect on your Spartans, you're going to want them out of formation attack. You see right here, too, whenever I engage, now these Pikes can come in behind me. So Oakley's doing a good job of doing what little he can with his Pikes. He's not getting tons of kills on them, but he's making them effective by forcing my troops into positions that I don't want to be in. So although the Pikes won't get the kills, they're forcing me to be running away where I'm unbraced, and cavalry can smack into me and all that kind of stuff. So Pikes, in and of themselves, are a poor offensive weapon, but there are times where they can be used to effect, and this is one of those times. I do not have the proper tools left on the field to deal with them, and so you can see that with that being the case, the Pikes become all of a sudden a big threat. But otherwise, you can just see by the way these guys are walking around, they are too slow to be offensive, and their formations are too odd. But see where the cavalry has pinned me down? The Pikes can now make their way in behind me. Oakley can keep clicking attack orders until his men come up, and they will kill some of my men here and there, constantly forcing my men to take losses, while the cavalry is able to run hammer and anvil charges. So a very nice tactic. The Bactrians doing a good job of supporting. Oakley, though, and the Bactrian are still taking a number of losses. The Bactrian's losing cavalry. Oakley's losing troops to some very strong Spartan units here. These Galatian Royal Guard are getting beat up by the combination of Spartans and Thorax swords, though they are getting a considerable number of kills. This unit over here is just absolutely tanking my Thorax swords. Lost almost nothing in the process. So the problem for the Spartan and I is that we are running out of troops. I've only got a couple of Thorax swords left. They are getting quite wavery from being constantly hit. You'll see that Oakley's doing a lot of ping-ponging his cavalry, is what I like to call it. In and out, and in and out, back and forth. Basically, why is this good? Why would you want to do this? Whether or not they're shot cavalry, and especially when they're shot cavalry, it's good. Not only do you get the charge bonus, you also get the impact damage that is caused by cavalry, and impact damage is based on the mass of the cavalry. The higher the mass, the more impact damage. Ptolemaic cav is very heavy shot cav, and any very heavy shot cavalry by repeated charges can kill huge numbers of infantry. 218 kills in this Ptolemaic cav, and Oakley is going to use that, and that's exactly what he should do. This Ptolemaic cav now 420 kills, no doubt from mopping up quite a few Spartan skirmishers. The Spartan skirmishers were not properly protected. With that many citizen cav on the field, the Spartan could have protected his skirmishers from at least the Ptolemaic cav. Ptolemaic cav are great on the charge, but in a prolonged fight versus citizen cav, especially outnumbered, it would not be a cost-effective engagement for the Ptolemaic cav, even if they won it. And then the skirmishers could support that. So at this point, my last couple of units are out here dying. My Thorax swords are just not going to last. But again, like I said, you can see that I take out most of the Bactrian units, and even at this point, Oakley's general starts to die. He's not dead yet, but he's starting to take a lot of losses, and he's going to be struggling here. He's probably using, he's using the strategist general, which is a great choice when you bring a shot cavalry general, or like an Oathsworn type general, because you can use second wind to overcome the impacts of headhunt or stampede. So this is a great choice for Oakley, and it's going to help him maximize the damage that general can do. Though you can see again, the fight, I wouldn't really say it's crazy close, but it's close. Again, Oakley going to run a rear charge here on the unbraced Royal Spartans. It's still very risky, because those Royal Spartans are going to kill cavalry, and indeed they do. Though Oakley is going to go ahead and get his troops out. If you pull them out before those units get back up, you can minimize. But because of expert charge defense and other stuff, Oakley took damage there. His general is not yet dead, which is pretty amazing because he's down to 10 units. But you can see that Oakley is now going to start considering to charge my last unit of Thorax swords. And so I go into shield wall last second. I'm trying to ward him off. He's chasing me with a pike unit, trying to do some of the same business of getting me to unbrace myself with the pike unit and then hit me with the cavalry. And he's also got a second Ptolemaic cav feinting against me here, trying to open up my rear for a charge. So he's doing a good job of using hit and run tactics. I do get shield wall at the last second, and the enemy general was actually one of those cavalrymen who just hit my men and fell off and died. So although my men got the privilege of killing Oakley's general, they are now going to die. And die they will. So at this point, again, numbers in the battle are relatively close. What is going to be the end of us is the fact that this is a Galatian Royal Guard, not a thorax sword. So even though there's some pretty tough Spartan units still in the field, with this cavalry being able to do hit and runs, and the 2 thorax pikemen that remain here, it's pretty much hopeless. Even if we could beat the Galatian Royal Guard, which the Spartan is not doing so well at doing, he's all blobbed up, and then these rear charges right here are going to decimate the Spartan numbers, and they're already struggling versus the Galatian Royal Guard. They can beat these units, and they will beat those units if it's done properly. In this case, the formation attack and the blobbing is what's keeping the Royal Spartans from being able to take care of business versus the Galatian Royal Guard. The Spartan infantry was really very superior to what Oakley fielded, and he could have killed Oakley's infantry theoretically, but obviously he did not, because Oakley outplayed him here. So at larger funds, some of the Spartan infantry becomes very dangerous because they become affordable. It's kind of the deal. Lots of frontal engagement with pikes. Do not engage pikes frontally. Retreat, move away, but of course when you're in a position like this, you can't do that. So as the Spartan, it's usually good if you're going to bring expensive hoplites to support them with cheaper spear units, so that your cavalry can have the support of cheaper spear units, which means that you usually don't end up with lots of enemy cavalry late game. The Spartans have access to great hoplite infantry and good skirmishers. You have to use those good skirmishers to pick at enemy cavalry, while you play more defensively with your spear units and utilize their strengths to that point. When you get all mixed up and blobbed up, you're not going to play into the Spartans' favor. You have to let them play to their strengths. So we are going to be defeated here. It's a great battle. Enjoyed it very much, and enjoyed getting to play with Oakley. I did get to play one more battle with him on this same night, though we were still on opposite teams. The carnage was real in this battle. Huge funds, lots of killing. You can see there's corpses and horses and all kinds of stuff from all over the battlefield. Big killing fields. It was a big battle. It was relatively close, but in the end, I think that because of the mistakes that I made early, it really cost our team the victory. Some of you may say, well, Air, your teammate screwed up some too. Yeah, he did. But if I would have stuck with him early on, it would have been a lot harder for the Bactrian to be useful. And as the Bactrian forces whittled themselves away, uselessly trying to charge us up at the top of this hill, Oakley's forces would have been made less powerful as well, because the Bactrians' effect on my army would have been lesser. I would have had spear support, while being able to support Oakley against the pikes. We could have picked his pikes apart with our skirmishers. So yes, this is my fault. This loss is definitely my fault. If I would have stuck with my teammate, run up the hill, we had the skirmishing power to get the job done versus Oakley's pikes, and we would have had the skirmishing power in position to stop the cavalry of Bactria. Well played by Oakley and his teammate, and I hope you all learned something by me being able to show you how they won and what I feel like caused us to lose. And hopefully you get to learn something from it while enjoying some good old footage. So here's Oakley's kills over here, and definitely enjoys seeing him bring pikes. Not a lot of people do that. It's fun, it's risky, because again, in the right situation, these pikes could have been mauled by the combined skirmishing power of, so between my 3 mercenary Cretan archers, the 2 mercenary Cretan archers of Sparta, along with the 3 Rhodian slingers, oh, 3 Cretan archers and 3 Rhodian slingers, their skirmishers would have gotten crushed. We should have taken the hill position, taken our time to skirmish, and this would have been very bad for our enemies, but we did not. And you can see that the Royal Spartans, this Spartan hoplite got some kills. This Royal Spartan got, some decentish kills. So did the general, but most of the units not getting many kills, and these are very expensive. Look, this one, 0 kills on the Hero Sparta. That's rough. 38 kills in Royal Spartans, also rough. And that's really a big part of what contributed. Whereas again over here, look at all the skirmisher and other kills that this one got. That's not all skirmishers, probably a lot, but that's impressive. 534 kills on any unit is a lot. So a lot of kills off of just one cavalry unit. The archers getting some kills, helping to pay for themselves. This Galatian Royal Guard did okay, may have paid for itself. This one did great. And really, seeing this many pike kills in this scenario, Oakley did a good job getting this many kills with Pikes. Usually just about any kills you can get with Pikes are worth it, but because the Spartan took so many head-on engagements, and because I got forced in between a Pike and a cav place, these Pikes were able to get some kills, and he did a good job with it. Even an impressive number of kills on Thurio Spears. A lot of kills on the White Peltas too. Just overall an impressive job by Oakley here as far as racking up that many kills. So you can see here the total number of kills. Sparta was in last, I was next, just barely behind Cannabis Club here. Though do remember that Cannabis Club got a little more kills than me with a lot fewer men. I had more men on the battlefield than anybody else here, so you know, you would think that would have means that I probably should have racked up the most kills. Anyway, here's Cannabis Club's kills, and there's the Spartan's kills, so you can see it all. So nothing too great from any of the Bactrian units. Okay-ish here on this Hellenic Cataphract, and decent-ish here on that. That is quite a few kills for a melee cav right there as well. But otherwise you can see that his horses for the most part didn't do a huge job. Oakley just got an outstanding number of kills here. He killed a lot of Spartans for relatively few losses, and then did a good job dispatching my troops that were out, well, the troops that I had left after the fight with the Bactrian that were trying to outflank him. So he did a good job there. Hope you all enjoyed this one, and I will be back to show you the next battle that I had with Oakley soon. Some of you may be saying, like, at the beginning, why did you call Macedon Crapidon? Not because I have anything against Macedon. Historically speaking, they're an interesting faction. Macedon just has a very poor roster in Rome 2. Some of you are like, really? They have a pretty diverse looking roster. They're not bad in campaign. They're fun to use in campaign, one of my favorite factions to play, but there's a couple of things they have going against them. One is that one of their strengths is different Pike units. But that strength, which is a strength in campaign, having good Pike units, is a weakness in multiplayer because of the difficulty in using Pikes. What you saw in Oakley there getting a few kills with his Pikes is not typical on Rome 2 multiplayer, and it is difficult to do. Foot companions are worthless in multiplayer, absolutely 100% worthless. Thorax Pikes will occasionally be used to good effect. Usually the only Pikes you can use to any effect are the Levy Pikemans, and it's because they are cheap. You don't need much return from them. What really hurts Macedon though, their mid-tier melee infantry is poor. Poor for the price, that is. The charge of the Thracian warriors is great, but the cost is bad for what you get. Thorax swords, good armor, otherwise somewhat decent stats. Their attack is just pathetic for 710. Take a look at a Roman unit, for instance, for a Principe, what you get at 680 versus the Thorax sword at 710. 38 attack, 34 damage. And then for the Principe, 47 attack and 35 damage. And then look at the armor again on the Principe, 75 versus the Thorax sword. Well, it's also at 75, and then let's see, the Thorax sword is 60 health, 55 morale. Yeah, so just way more attack on the Principe for the same price that you're going to pay. And you look, the Legionary has even more armor there, though it does sacrifice some melee defense. But that's an example of what you would get for roughly the same price out of the Romans. Check that out, 90 armor on the Legionary cohort for the same, or 10 talents less what you get on the Thorax swordman. So that's why Macedon is bad. Rome 2 is all, like, in multiplayer for the most part, when you're just playing on normal large funds, it's all about who has the best mid-tier melee infantry and who has good mid-tier heavy cavalry. Whoever has that tends to be a good faction. Macedon has neither, and that's why they suffer. They have no mid-tier melee cavalry that's good. Their mid-tier shock cavalry is pretty good. The biggest problem with Thessalians is their mass. They're only heavy shock cavalry as opposed to being very heavy. They are not a bad unit, but they're not a great unit. So again, that's really where Macedon suffers. They have some decent units, but really no good combination. Royal Peltast are a good sword unit, but hard to make cost effective. And because you lack that good mid-tier component, Macedon suffers greatly. One other problem they have is just killing power. Royal Peltast have some killing power, but they don't do good against Roman infantry in the wrong scenario, and they don't do good against barbarian heavy swords in the wrong scenario either. So Royal Peltast, although a good unit, are kind of tricky on how to use them. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. Macedon does not have a lot of killing power, and that's one of their big problems. And what killing power they have is expensive. Companion cavalry, expensive. Cretan archers, Rhodian slingers, very expensive. So Macedon lacks good killing power at a fair price. Hope this was informative. HeirofCarthage signing off for now. I will see you all back next time. Yeah, don't know why I didn't just end right there.